It's DansDen! DansDen. Hello everyone, welcome to DansDen and the Study Skills playlist. So I was asked to do a video around maths and about how stuff goes in one ear and out the other. And I actually recorded a video just now going into some math problems, but realized that's not going to help, particularly here, as so many of you can have different ability levels in maths. And so instead what I wanted to do, I mean, this is about study skills, right? This is about developing skills in order for you to study. So first of all, what I wanted to look at was some of the issues that people face with maths. Now, one thing I'm aware of is that so many of us will have an issue with maths. Maths is like Marmite. Either you love it or you hate it. I am someone who loves maths. And so there is a little bit of me that is hurt when people say they don't like maths. But I always want to understand it because there are subjects I don't like that other people absolutely love, you know? It swings and roundabouts, it's ups and downs, you know? So what I did first of all was I did a quick Google search on why some people hate maths, because I'd never actually Googled it before to figure it out. And here's some of the reasons. Now, here's the common causes of trouble with math. There's only 3 here. And then there's loads on why so many students struggle with it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link of this website into this video. You'll see it in the description so you can look at the other ones. But I'm going to just work with the first 3 and I'm going to write them down. And I'll read them out so that I'm not making it up. Because what I did in the last video was I try to make it up. And that's not very responsible of me. So first one, we're going to start with the first one, is Dyscalculia. Now I have little experience with Dyscalculia. I'm also going to spell it right this time. Because again, I would not spell it the way it is spelt. Not how I would do it. Because there is an IA at the end. Dyscalculia. There we go. Dyscalculia. Then I'll read out what it says here. And then you can get an idea of that. Now, this will be one of the common troubles that people have with maths. Excuse me. What I'm immediately going to say is something that I'm familiar with, especially among young people and students, is it's very easy for us to self-diagnose. I did it with so many things, but the truth is, until you have a proper professional in front of you saying that you do or do not have these things, and I always suggest going to more than one if you can, then I wouldn't self-diagnose, because what self-diagnosis leads to is also false treatment. And false treatment can lead to other problems. Also, it's a power of suggestion. If we believe we have something, we will behave as though we have something, and it can kind of cause itself to become true even when it's not. And that's not what we want, okay? That's not really what we want, because it might turn out that you are not having the challenges that you actually believe you're having, okay? So make sure you get a professional to diagnose you if that's the case. So, what it says here on the website is, Dyscalculia is a learning difficulty that causes students to struggle with formulas, shapes, and number-related concepts. This makes it difficult to them to understand and process math problems. These students usually fall far behind their peers in math and have trouble with number-related problems that don't improve with ongoing practice. Now, I've read these before, and there's a theme behind all of these, which I'll get to in a moment. But Dyscalculia is going to be an actual difficulty, a learning difficulty that will stop people from enjoying maths because, of course, it just causes a lot of problems, personal, mental, psychological issues along the way. And, of course, falling far behind is not something that I know young people enjoy at all. And I know, actually, adults don't like it either. So that's definitely going to be one of the main problems. The next one. Now, these are probably all connected to some degree, but nonetheless. The next one is just straightforward math anxiety. So I'll read this one out, and I think if it doesn't say it, I will say it. So math anxiety is the next one. It's not the same as Dyscalculia, but I feel as though math anxiety is certainly something that would be experienced by someone with Dyscalculia. So here we go. Students with math anxiety don't simply dislike math. For them, math causes debilitating feelings of fear and failure that hurt their ability to perform. The pressure and lack of confidence these students feel when faced with math causes their brain to freeze and forget even the things they do know. Now again, I can feel this with a couple of students that I know as well. I know this is the case. I mean, some cases, some people hear the word math and honestly, it's not a good time. But that would be math anxiety. Now we're looking at anxiety on a serious, as it says, debilitating problem. Not something where you get a little nervous, but something where you literally you're not able to function. Okay, so we don't want to, again, poorly diagnose ourselves with math anxiety when actually all that's happening is we just don't like the subject. Those are two different things, and we really want to be responsible about how we manage that. So math anxiety, that'll be another one. One of the other areas of this that wasn't mentioned though is how anxiety can also create a space of over-performance. I don't know if that's the right term, but super performance as such, where basically I've seen this. There's a young student I worked with who clearly, really wanted to get it right, but would go at it with such veracity and such nervous enthusiasm that they would really often get it wrong. And the thing is, they knew the answer. They would jump to it, and some of the most simple answers as well. They would jump to it so quickly that they would still get it wrong. And I know they knew the answer because every time we go through a little practice and we slow down and take it a moment, we go back to the problem, they get it right, no problem. Almost every time, actually. So I'm willing to believe that this is the same both ways. Either you go at it with all of your gusto and too much, or you don't go at it at all. It's the fight or flight response. And I've done this as well. Not that I've been anxious, but I've been overconfident where I've got a math problem that's very straightforward and got it wrong because I was too overconfident. This will be slightly different because there is the nervousness behind it, and there's that wanting so badly to get it right because you desperately do not want to be wrong. Also with math anxiety, another element of it is that maths is incredibly logical. It's a very hard skill, learning thing. Whereas with English, with science even, with certain things, yes, there are facts, but also there's a lot of creativity, there's a lot of imagination, there's a lot of fluidity that can take place in there. But with maths is very much, this is the answer, this is the way. And I'm willing to believe that math anxiety can kick in because there is very little room for error when it comes to getting it right in maths. There's very little room for error. In fact, there's none, to be honest with you. Because not only are you to get the calculations correct, the working out right, because you get marks for that in exams, you also need to get, of course, the actual answer right. And if the working out is wrong and the answer is right, then what is being suggested is that if you take that working out into the world and obviously continue to do it, you're actually more likely to continue to get it more often wrong because the working out doesn't apply. It only happened to get right that one time. Or, of course, you were wrong in your own wrong calculations and the answer came out right. Either way, it's important to make sure that everything is right. And that can develop that anxiety because there is no room to get it wrong. There's more pressure. So I do want to believe that. The last one is poor foundation. Now, this I do completely understand because, in effect, if you are, let's say, undertaught for any reason on the basics of math, right? Be it, let's go as far back as saying, even if you've got counting 1 to 10 wrong, then you just have to ask, how can a person be expected then to do subtraction, multiplication, addition, all of those things, if they can't even get their 1 to 10 right? And that'll be the same for, of course, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. If you can't get those right, how, of course, can more advanced math problems be resolved? How can they be solved? So poor foundation can be another reason, which can then actually tie into math anxiety. It can tie into that easily because, of course, the more a person, or the less a person knows on the foundation of math, the more they're going to struggle as they advance, which, of course, in a way, certainly in the UK, we are forced to advance, whether we almost get it right or not. We kind of have to keep going. And so the challenge becomes an element of, I'm now in an area that is beyond my ability, and I'm being forced, unfortunately, to try when I don't have the foundation correct. Now, the reason I wanted to go through these was because it's important for you to be aware of if any of these connect with you in any way. Because if they do, now you have a way to begin developing on that confidence with maths, on that better feeling with maths. Now, the person who asked me to do this, they did say that things go in one ear and out the other. That can be a blockage in regards to, again, that fight or flight response. When we look at math problems, we, on some level, don't believe that we're able to do it. We're not able to learn. Or actually, we find that math is boring, which is also something I've heard. So it's not interesting. It's not creative enough. It's not out there enough. It's not outside the box enough. It's very rigid. You know, it's very much like this is this and that is that and that is that. And it's very routine. And that, of course, can be a problem in itself. The reason I love math from someone who really hates the routine and the this is this and that is that, very pragmatic thing, I don't like that at all, is actually because math was introduced to me in a very colourful, actually musical way. And so I saw a very creative side and fun side of math early on, very early on, some of my earliest memories. My mum bought a cassette tape where multiplication tables were sung in song to me, and there were different songs from 1 to 10, I think it was, 1 to 12, I can't remember. And I remember number 9 was my favourite. But but it meant that math was, the foundation of math was fun, it was entertaining. And so I didn't have this element of it being boring ever. And then I started to have fun with it when I realised how it was like puzzle pieces. You know, that goes in there and that fits that way. Certainly when it got to algebra, I loved algebra, right? Resolving those puzzles and so on and so forth. It became a really problem-solving area for me and I really enjoyed it. So, of course, if you find math boring, then we would have to hunt out and find math material out there that is fun, that makes math interesting, okay? That makes it more, oh, yay, like maths, fun. And I know that sounds ridiculous, those of you who think it's boring or stressed out by it, but it's possible. But of course, you have to make the decision to find that and then engage with it. So any one of these. Now, for example, I did a Google search, and again on YouTube, there are plenty of videos that actually teach math with regards to dyscalculia. If you have been diagnosed or you're, you know, on the road to being diagnosed, then of course you're going to get a tutor perhaps who's an expert in dyscalculia and understands it and can teach with dyscalculia. Then that's great. There are YouTube videos out there that help you with this. There'll be, I'm sure, papers that are math-based for people with dyscalculia. And I would say to all of these people, all of you out there who struggle with math, maybe actually take a look at those as well, because there might be something in there that really allows you to hold the information in better. Then, of course, with math anxiety and poor foundation, the best thing I can recommend is start from an earlier place. Go back, literally go back into some really basic, simple math. Don't go so far back that you're like, this is easy, this is a cakewalk. But go back far enough that you are within your realms of understanding and ability, right? Go back to there and work your way from there. There is plenty of time now. And actually, I would say spend half an hour a day, right? One video a day, because some of the videos on YouTube are about half an hour. One video a day or half an hour a day, just going through some problems. Go back over problems, right? Get stuff wrong. Allow yourself to get stuff wrong and then learn why you got it wrong, because in there is the learning as well. And what I found with everything I've learned, in literally everything I've learned in my life, is that when you start something, you're going to get it wrong. You get it wrong and you continue to get it wrong and it's fine. But then all of a sudden, one day, it clicks. It literally just bang, it just clicks. It's almost like those neural pathways in your mind that have been forming and building together to help you do the thing suddenly solidify and go, I get what you're trying to do now. I can do this. And of course, it will take different time for different people, but really commit yourself to getting there with this, okay? Because it's possible. Even with dyscalculia, it says right there, if you're not continuously practicing, you don't get better. So even with this, there's still opportunity for development and growth. It doesn't mean that you're never going to learn math. It might mean that you're going to have to learn math in a different way. And you know what? That's great, because actually a lot of us learn math. A lot of us learn very many things in different ways at different times. So ultimately, we give ourselves some compassion and we go, where do I actually need to be? What's my skill level in maths? And I work from there. Because honestly, if we're going to learn to swim and we only stay in the deep end, well, then we're more likely to drown. I'm sorry to end on that horrific analogy, but it is the truth. It is the truth. Let's go into the shallow end. Let's just practice moving our arms for a second. Let's see if we can keep ourselves afloat and have that safety net where if we feel like we're not able to keep ourselves up with our arms, we can just stand up and it's fine. Absolutely fine, right? Let's go further in, right? Further in into the shallower end of our own swimming pool and see where we're at so that we can learn math from there. Do Google searches, look on YouTube and see what sticks. Also, just for the person who asked for this video, if you're finding that information goes in and out, what you can also look at is what information sticks with you. What information does actually stay? What can you remember that maybe isn't even useful for anything? And ask yourself, honestly, why do you remember that? Because in that might lie the key behind why you're not remembering stuff in maths or in other subjects. If you can apply some of that to maths, then you might have solved your own problem there. I'll do another video on memory techniques, and that will actually require active participation from yourself. Okay, it might be a challenge because of course I won't have any feedback, so I'm just gonna have to roll through it, but I'll definitely put that out and see how you get on. All right. So if you have any more questions, please put them below. If you have any more specific questions, put them down in the comment box below. Let me know what you think of this video. Ask some questions. Thank you very much for being part of Dan's Den, and I'll see you another time. Take care, everyone. Bye.